We're back on question 3, paper 2, November 2022. Let's get started. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe. It helps me and it's free to you. Question 3 says 3.1, every learner in a technology class is expected to have Prestick and Prit. And there's Prestick and Prit, right? Glue stick, Prit is glue stick, right? Okay, the Prestick is packed in a rectangular shape sleeve. There it is. And the Prit is in a cylindrical container. The dimensions of the rectangular face of the Prestick sleeve and the cylindrical Prit container are given below. Right? So this is free advertisement for this company. Front dimensions of the Prestick sleeve. Okay. We are looking at the front dimensions of the Prestick sleeve. The width is 89 millimeters and the height or the length is 239 millimeters, depending how you're holding it. Are you holding it upwards? Are you holding it down like that? Okay, so we have the width and the length, which is L and W, so for future reference. And then we have the container, which is cylindrical, and that is the diameter. Remember, cylindrical container means that at the top there, when you're viewing it from the top, you're going to see a circle. And therefore, in our circle, we always find the diameter. And don't forget the radius, which is half of the diameter. So we have there 30 millimeters. And then we have the height of the whole thing, which is 114 millimeters. And then we have the height of the cap, which is 2.5 centimeters. I'm noting that I'm given this in centimeters while everything else is in millimeters. And I have the distance between the part you twist and the cap, just this part here in the middle, being 7 centimeters, and they haven't given me the opening part, the twisting part. Now, in order for me to find that twisting part, I'm going to take the whole height and I'm going to minus the 2.5 and I'm going to minus the 7 centimeters, and then I'm going to get the opening piece. But one slight problem, this is in millimeters and this is in centimeters. I cannot minus until I make the units of measurements the same, right? Whether I have to change them to millimeters or the millimeters to centimeters. Let's start. Use the information above to answer the questions that follow. Okay, 3.3.1 says, calculate the perimeter of the front of the Prestick sleeve. You may use the formula perimeter is equal to 2 times length plus width. Now let's just look at the formula here. If you think about it, 2 times length means 2 lengths, length and a length, right? So that's rectangular. That'll be this length times 2. And the width will be 2 times the width, which means this width, but then this width times 2. So you don't have to think, oh, it's something different. So we are just going to use this formula to substitute. Now, once you've decided what formula you're going to use, you copy it down. So I like to copy it down first. This part is just for me to remember where I'm calculating this. It's not for you. Okay, so now we're going to say 3.1.21. And we're going to say we're calculating the perimeter, which is 2 times the length plus the width, right? Okay, so what are we calculating? So the first thing I'm going to do is identify my unknown. My unknown here is perimeter. And then I'm going to check my units of measurements for length and width, which I'm going to substitute. My length is in millimeters. My width is in millimeters. So the units of measurement are the same. I can go ahead. But then my problem, calculate the perimeter of the front of the Prestick sleeve. So they didn't say in what measurement. So I can just go ahead and substitute. So I'm going to say perimeter is my unknown, 2 times open bracket, 239, following the formula exactly the way it is, plus 89 millimeters. So instead of length, I have the number for the length. Instead of width, I have the number for the width. And then I'm going to use my calculator and say 2 times, because BODMAS says I must start inside there. I'm going to go ahead and say 239 plus 89, and I get 328. And then I have millimeters. This is perimeter. And then I multiply by 2 and I have 656 millimeters being the perimeter. And then I have 3.1.2 So 3.1.2 says, calculate in centimeters the height of the opening or closing part of the print, right there. So they want me to calculate that little height there, opening and closing part, and in centimeters. They're very specific about it. We don't want millimeters, we want centimeters. Now, you don't have to worry about this. Whatever unit of measurement you're calculating, you can just convert it to whatever they want. So I'm going to do both for you. Let's say you ended up calculating in millimeters. We're going to start with that one. So in order to find that, I'm going to say I cannot minus centimeters from millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert 2,5 centimeters multiplied by 10, and that's going to give me 25 millimeters, right? And I'm going to say 7 centimeters multiplied by 10, and that's going to give me 70 millimeters. Then I'm going to say the total of this minus these two that I have, which is 114. So opening is equal to 114 millimeters, right? Minus 25 millimeters minus 70 millimeters, and I get 114 minus 25 minus 70, I get 19 millimeters. Now, what they said was, we don't want it in millimeters, we want it in centimeters. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say 19 divided by 10. Remember King Henry. Please, if you haven't watched the conversion videos, please go back to them. You are creating a problem for yourself. 1,9 centimeters. They will be very helpful in answering this kind of questions. So make sure you watch the conversion videos. Okay, so I'm now going to answer it the other way, where I just say, since they want centimeters, I'm first going to leave everything in centimeters, right? So my the ones that I'm minusing are already in centimeters, so I just have to change 114. So I am going to never answer two answers, use one answer, but I'm just making an example here. So I'm going to say 114 millimeters. I'm going to change that to centimeters by saying 114 times 10 divided by 10 will give me 11.4 centimeters. Now I can calculate the opening by saying 11.4 centimeters minus 2,5 centimeters minus 7 centimeters, and that gives me 11.4 minus 2,5 minus 7. That will give me 1,9 centimeters. You do it this way, you're fine. You do it this way, you're fine, as long as your answer is left in centimeters. Let's move on. The actual height in centimeters. Okay, the actual height of the glue in the Prit container is 8,5 centimeters, and the volume of the glue rounded to 3 decimal places is 52,345 centimeters. Now, what are they saying there? They're saying if you look at the container is longer, right? The container is 11,4 meters high, 11,4 centimeters or high, but the glue itself is 8,5 centimeters. Okay. And then they've given us the volume of this container, the space that can be the actual volume of the Prit inside the container is 52,346. They've given it to us. They've calculated it. How did they calculate it? I'm going to make you an example of how they calculated. They said volume is equal to pi r squared h, and they got the volume. We have the volume, right? And we have also the height. They said the height of the Prit is, and then we have the diameter of the container itself, which is 30 millimeters. Okay, fine. They said now show how the volume of the glue was calculated if the diameter of the glue is 28. They're saying the diameter of the glue itself is not 30, it's inside a millimeter this side and inside a millimeter this side, making it 28. Now they're saying use the 28 millimeters to calculate the volume. Again, we've calculated the volume for you there. Now what we want you to do is go back and calculate the volume again using the dimensions that we have given you. Very well, I'll do that. The formula for 3.1.43a, so they want us to calculate the volume. So volume is equal to pi Okay, let me copy it exactly the way they gave it to me. Volume is equal to 3,142 multiplied by radius squared multiplied by the height, right? Okay, so they're saying they must calculate the volume. So the unknown is going to be volume. I'm noting that volume is equal to 3,142 times. I need the radius. Where's the radius? Oops, I have the diameter in millimeters and the height in centimeters, and the volume, they got it in centimeters. So I need to work in centimeters here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come here and I'm going to say 28 millimeters divided by 2. That is going to give me 14 millimeters. Fine. Right? And then I'm going to change this, convert this to centimeters by dividing by 10, and that's going to give me 1,4 centimeters, right? So the radius is 1,4 centimeter squared multiplied by the height. They say the height is 8,5 centimeters. There we go. Everything is in centimeters. We can go ahead and calculate. So 3,142 multiplied by 1,4 squared. And we have 19,96 multiplied by 8,5 centimeters. And then we just multiply everything. 3,142 multiplied by 1,96 multiplied by 8,5. And that will give us 52,34572 centimeter cubed. And then they said it was rounded off to 3 decimal, 1, 2, 3 decimal. Again, please watch the rounding off video if you still have a problem. So we're going to look at the neighbor there, 7. And this is going to say increase because it's 5 and above, which is actually above 5. And the answer is 52,346 centimeter cubed. Now you ask yourself, what if I calculated in millimeters? So the answer here comes out in centimeter cubes because we used centimeters here. What happens if we use millimeters here and we get millimeter cubed? So I'm going to teach you how to convert the cubic, right? Because sometimes they're going to give you like this and they say change it to millimeter cubed, and then how are you going to do? So okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say 52.346. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to millimeter cubed. This is an extra, it's not asked. So I'm just doing it in case you come across these exams. So in order to convert this to millimeter cubed, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the unit of measurement, and then you know how to convert that. Centimeter to millimeter, you multiply by 10. So we have 52.46 multiplied by 10. And then we say we are not converting millimeters and centimeters, we're converting cubic centimeters, and therefore 10 is going to be to the power 3, and therefore 52,46 is actually multiplied by 10 times 10 times 10, 10 times 10 times 10. So this 1, 2, 3. See that? So that would be 10 times 10 times 10, and that is 1,000. So 52.46 is actually multiplied by 1,000, and we get the answer, which is 52.36. 52.3 times 52.346, and that is 52346 millimeter cubed. Just an extra. So let's move on. Right. B. Determine rounded to the nearest gram the mass of the glue in the PRIT container. If the density of the glue is 0.82 grams per centimeter cubed, you may use the formula. So there, we don't have to worry about anything. We have a formula. All right, so we are on B. Okay, so that's 3.1.3b, and we're just going to copy the formula. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. There we go. So where are we going to get the volume? They say that determine rounded to the nearest gram the mass of the glue in the PRIT container if the density of the glue is. First of all, which one is the unknown? They're saying calculate the mass. Now let's find the mass on the formula. There is our unknown. Very important to identify that unknown right from the beginning on the formula. And then we have the density. So we're going to substitute the density here is equal to mass is going to be unknown divided by the volume of the PRIT, which is given up there. We don't need to calculate it in this question, luckily for us. So let's substitute the density, which is 0.82 grams. So density there is 0.82 grams per cubic centimeter, and then the mass is unknown, divided by the volume. Let's say the volume is 52,346 of the Prit. It says rounded off to the mass of the glue in the Prit container, right? So we are using only the glue, so we're going to worry about the volume of the glue, which is 52 point, let me make sure I got it right, 52.346 cubic centimeters, right? So now let's find the unknown. Okay, so unknown here is sitting with 52.346 and they are dividing. What is the opposite of divide? Multiply, right? So we're going to multiply this by 52.346 and centimeter cubed. Guess what happens? This cancel that. I'm going to do a little correction. I multiplied this side and then I came and I divided this side. So this time I'm going to come and multiply it by 52.346. I'm just going to rewrite that. So that will be 0.82 grams per centimeter cubed multiplied by 52.346, which is equal to mass, right? And then we are going to calculate by saying 0.82 multiplied by 52.346, and voila, we have 42.92372 equals to mass. Because now grams, now I was like, wait a minute, why would they ask us to round off to the nearest gram when they know there's nothing there? Nah, that makes sense. So it's 43, the nearest gram here, so the 1 gram is there, so the nearest gram, that means the nearest 1 gram. The nearest apple means the nearest 1 apple. The nearest centimeter means the nearest 1 centimeter. So 1 centimeter, you're going to find it there. 1 gram, you're going to find it there. We're just going to look at the neighbor. The neighbor said 2 becomes 3 because it's 5 and above. It's actually above 5. And just to be on the safe side, this is comma. What happens to the 9? It becomes 0. What happens to the 2? It becomes 0. What happens to 3? It becomes 0. What happens to the 7? It becomes 0. What happens to the 2? It becomes 0 grams. So what is happening actually here is that any numbers on the other side of the comma, once they are 0, all of them are 0. Immediately once all of them are 0, then they no longer matter because they're 0. And I'm going to show you this. Look at this. 43,000 is 43. And I'm going to show you also 43,20 is 42,2. So the calculator, there's 0 at the end. If there's no number on the other side of the 0, it just leaves it out. So we have here 43 grams. Just extra stuff. Okay. Because we're there now. We are preparing for the exams.